We are here at Reagan National Airport to provide an update on the tragic events of last night.
A U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter has collided with an American Airlines plane.
We're seeing more divers going into the water.
Search boats making their way going down the Potomac River.
It is believed that no one survived this crash.
This is set to be one of the deadliest disasters in D.C. in decades.
And your heart just breaks for all of the communities that are impacted. This is hitting home for so many today.
Think of the families, think of the athletes, and that's as it should be.
All the pieces just flew together, and we knew before 1 a.m. last night that we'd lost a lot of family.
We do want to, think of and honor the victims of what is an American tragedy.
This week, 7 News reflects on the tragic mid-air collision between an American Airlines jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter over the Potomac River nearly 1 year ago.
64 passengers and crew were on board the plane and 3 soldiers on the helicopter when they collided near Reagan National Airport. Tragically, there were no survivors.
Tonight, 7 News' Jasmine Stiles looks back at what happened that night.
Just before 9 p.m., January 29, 2025, an American Airlines flight traveling to D.C. from Wichita, Kansas, was preparing to land at Reagan National when it disappeared into a ball of fire. We must warn you, some of these images may be disturbing. This shocking video shows the moments leading up to impact between the plane and the Army chopper. Here's a better look at that aircraft involved. Now, on the left is a U.S. Army UH-60L Black Hawk helicopter, and on the right is the PSA Airlines CRJ regional plane. That plane was approaching DCA runway 33 when the Army helicopter flew into its path, leading to that collision. 7 News has the dispatch calls made that night moments after the crash.
I was reporting a CRJ and a helicopter crash into the Potomac River.
Officer advised there's a helicopter in the water. Been found by boats retrieving injured. They're looking for the aircraft at this moment.
The emergency response was immediate. Rescue personnel from D.C., Virginia, and Maryland all rushed to the scene.
So it's a brother and a sisterhood. And, humans shouldn't have to see this kind of tragedy. And this is an unprecedented tragedy for many people in their careers. But what people don't see on a regular basis, this is something that we do at a lower scale, but we see the death every day.
DCA shut down and the Federal Aviation Administration issued an extended ground stop, disrupting hundreds of flights. Flights already in the air headed to DCA were diverted to Washington Dulles International Airport. Washington Metro deployed extra resources to help those passengers get back to their vehicles parked at DCA. And teams worked for days to recover the victims and wreckage in freezing temperatures. Divers worked in 8-foot-deep murky water, dodging floating chunks of ice. At one point, recovery efforts stopped so parts of the broken jet interfering with the search could be removed. Both black boxes from the plane and the voice data recorder from the helicopter were recovered, and investigators have been combing through the data. Coming up on Tuesday, the NTSB is expected to release its final report on this crash, including the probable cause. We'll have that for you on air and online at WJLA.com.
A total of 67 lives were lost in this collision. You see the names right behind us on your screen are some of the names and faces of local victims. 3 soldiers were aboard the Army helicopter, and 64 passengers and crew members were on the American Airlines flight.
Now, the local victims will be honored in multiple ceremonies this week. Among those on board, a local attorney and a newly hired law professor at Howard University. 14 figure skaters from across our region were also on that American Airlines flight, returning from national championships with their coaches and parents. Fairfax County Public Schools confirms 3 students and 6 parents were killed in the crash.
And 2 of those parents were current or former FCPS staff members. Many in the skating community had ties to Loudoun and Fairfax County schools.
People are devastated. My daughter supposed to have a class today. The coach has canceled the class because she also knows so many kids. Especially you saw them from lots of kids start training from 4 to 6 years old. So most coaches already know them more than 10 years.
The 3 soldiers killed were participating in a training exercise at the time of the collision. 7 News will continue extended coverage throughout the week, tracking the investigation and how victims are being honored. So join us each day at 5 p.m. for a deep dive into victim stories, regulation changes, and more. You can find all of our coverage anytime at WJLA.com.